For anybody who didn't hear, my name is Christina. I share a very similar story with probably anybody who can say they were gender questioning since they were this high. Started out with Ellie, and everybody seemingly that follows after her. My story: I grew up here in West Michigan, Christian Reform family. I basically struggled with my gender identity at a very young age. Once I finally kind of started coming into my own, I started cross-dressing at probably about 13 years old. I got caught by my mom one night. She had ran to the store, and I thought, oh, perfect opportunity, I'm all alone. She came home and immediately came down to my bedroom. She said she just had a feeling something was wrong. She called my dad the next day, who proceeded, they were divorced at the time, he proceeded to stop by afterwards and confronted me in the garage about how boys don't act that way, and proceeded to slam me against the wall until he made his point. So I pretty much fought those feelings for most of my life, and it still was something I did occasionally on and off, trying to make the feelings of what I was feeling inside my head match what I could feel on my exterior. As I got older, the story is very similar, and that a lot of people that maybe are fighting those urges, they tend to go completely opposite the direction of that, to try and battle or trying to best say, that's not me, because I still had those things in the back of my head that that's not how boys acted. So I got into a hyper-masculine job. I currently even work as an electrician for the largest electrical construction firm in Grand Rapids. I also dated very promiscuously throughout my life growing up. I was always into all the guy stuff because I kept fighting it. There was no support when I was in my late teens and early 20s. So I then met my wife that I'm now divorced from, and I thought, you know what, this is what I needed. I needed somebody that was I was gonna get married, have a family. That's like the most manly thing you can do. So that's how I battled it. Problem is this whole time coming up to this, I'm like, it's getting worse and worse. The feelings in my head are getting more powerful. The desires to be my feminine self were getting stronger and stronger. It destroyed my marriage, literally destroyed it, because I couldn't fight it. I tried counseling, and the more I hid it, the more I actually ended up acting out. Sorry. So, my ex caught me on several different occasions with either makeup that it just happened to be I left one piece out when I was acting out, and I'd left something behind, and she found it and she goes, "This isn't mine." And it just kept being one thing after another, and finally I realized that it was a sign. I just was not meant to continue to struggle with this anymore. She decided she wanted to leave me. We got divorced, and because of the point of vulnerability I was in, being gender questioning and being a cross-dresser, she leveraged that against me and took me for everything I owned and threatened to out me in a basically blackmailed me, and it was pretty horrible. I lost everything that I had earned for 15 years of working for my company. I lost all my friends because she made me literally take everybody from my life and disconnect from them, and I was isolated. I then was divorced on my own with nobody. Within a few months of cutting ties with all my friends, I had one guy that reached out to me. He said he had heard my story, one of my friends, and said he heard my story from my ex, and he said, that's bullshit. He goes, what she did was bullshit, and I want you to know that I'm still your friend no matter what. No matter what gender you choose, whatever, I'm still gonna be your friend. Then I started getting another friend request, and more, and more. Next thing you know, everybody that I had cut ties with came back. So, about the end of 2016, I decided that I was going to start transitioning. I had kind of been following the media. I had seen Caitlyn Jenner come out. I know some people think that she's a joke and stuff, but the one thing is she got it out there in the media and got it all in front of everybody's faces, and she said, I'm trans. Next thing you know, I'm like, what the hell is that? And I started doing research. The more and more that I did research, the more and more I got into a really bad place, because I started seeing more and more people that were suffering, losing family, losing friends, losing their jobs. And I got to a point where I said, if this is what I need to do, I can't do it. I can't lose everything just to be who I want to be. It got me to a brink of suicide. The only thing that literally had me still holding on was the fact that I had a job. That was the only thing that got me out of bed and everything. So I started counseling with a gender therapist in January of last year, who immediately, upon meeting me, recommended me for hormone replacement and told the doctors that, hey, she's good to go. This is no BS. And I decided at that point, I'm going to live this life because suicide is not the way out. And I also decided if I lose anybody out of this, or I lose my job, it's worth it, because I'm gonna live my life genuinely. Thank you. My friends, when they first met Christina, were a little bit taken aback. It was kind of a big shock. They had known me as Todd all my life, and it's the Todd, you know. And so I worked with them. And I still continue to work with them. But then, so friends came, and that was good. I had a foundation. I had people that supported me. Then my family. You know, I've got, obviously, my dad problems back in the day. My mom's passed. My brother is a devout Christian and very strong in his faith, and I am also. And he at first had a little bit of a problem, but he came around. He actually, the more and more I talked to him about all these feelings, the more he was able to see that this wasn't just something I was making up. And this past Christmas, I actually came out to my dad. It was a rough road at first. He's coming along. But the biggest one was my work. I spend the majority of my time in my life at my job. I feared to no end what was going to happen, because obviously trans women working in construction, let alone cis women, have issues. I will say this, that I came out to them in October of last year. I met with my HR department, and I immediately was prepared for some level of, we got to keep this on the down low or whatever. But they said, what can we do to help? The current CEO of my company started a year and a half after me. He said to my HR person that I disclosed this information to, he said to her, when he met with him, said, I know who this is, you don't even have to tell me. I know who it is, I got a feeling. And because I'm, growing my hair out at work, people are like, I used to be like a crew cut, and, I don't know if that's me. Anyways, he said, I know who it is. And you know what? It's not a problem. We are going to be known as an inclusive company. He said, whatever we got to do, we're going to make the changes, and we are going to be known as an inclusive and diversified employer, and we are going to reach out to these employees and say that there will be a zero tolerance for harassment. So over the past 6 months since that, I have been working with my HR department, and I am now 3 weeks out at my company. And my company has reached out to some of the more inclusive companies in the area and has decided that they want to model their inclusive culture that they already represent, the Steelcases, the Herman Millers that go down to Pride and represent and say this is a safe environment for people to work. They are the same. They want to do the same thing. So that was the last big step for me. Like I said, I'm now 3 weeks out working as Christina. I've legally changed my name, and it's, I am who I am, and it's been great. And last thing I'll leave with is today, at midnight, I posted on my Facebook that my dead name Facebook that I hadn't posted in several months. I posted in representation of Trans Day of Visibility that we can all thank Rachel for, that I still had about 80 people on that Facebook that had no idea of what was going on. By noon, I should say, 40 of those people have already switched over to my new Facebook profile and have all reached out to me and said that they accept me for who I am. So I got pushed up here by Larry just to, keep the mic going, hot mic. I know we are in a culture and a society that a lot of times you see that there isn't acceptance for us. But there actually are several employers, and there's different organizations out there that are trying to be anti the current establishment and that are wanting to reach out and say, we will not be exclusive. We want to be inclusive. So, thank you.